Hey guys, got another video for you guys. I'm with Pony and Inbox on this one. We're just doing a trio. This will be more what you're going to be used to whenever you start raiding. I've actually got most of the gear switches that they use. This is a normal gear switch. You can substitute the Twisted Buckler for like a Book of Law or a Malediction Ward if you need to. This is his mage gear. Obviously, you don't need to bring a full 8 mage switch for whenever you start raiding. You can bring like a 6-way switch, leave the hat and the boots. Um, Actually, he doesn't have the boots, he's using 7-way. So just leave the hat and wearing a 6-way. He brings a pickaxe, an hatchet, salvami, anti-poison, ranging pot, stamina, combat potion, 3 brews, 4. No, 3 restores, 4 brews, and then a Void Melee Helm switch with a Dragon Warhammer and Dragon Defender, and a rune pouch for Olm for whenever you use water spells, so let people out of the fire. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start.
Alright, let's get it, boys.
Inbox just gotta start it. You'll be able to hear their commentary as well. That way, you can get all 3 sides.
One thing to keep in mind when you Guardians, which is what we should start with, is to always put your pickaxe on smash.
Which is the third option down here.
Right.
Before you get there, go ahead and drink your super combat, and then pray piety when you get close. You can flick it if you're confident enough, or you can just leave it on. Up to you.
You can also take a sip of stamina so you don't run out of run energy.
I agree with that.
Oh shit.
And then you just want to go in and then step 2 steps out, and then wait for your attack animation to reset, and then go again. And sometimes it'll hit you, and then you wait a little bit longer, and it goes away. A good thing is if you have it, you can bring a pet, and it'll show you that you need to step 1 past it. That will help some of you. There you go. That's guards. Next room is crabs. There's only 2 room setups. These are pretty easy if you have 3 people and everybody's doing it, and you don't eat the ball. Obviously, it hurts.
No, I think there's 3 room setups.
Is there 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I lied. There's 3. We're gonna let Inbox do most of the hard work.
So the goal is to get the orb to hit different crystals.
Oh, it's red. It turned red.
Okay. You want to make sure that the color of the orb that you are sending changes to hit the crystal with the correct color as well. So first we have black, so we're going to make it white, which means we're not going to attack it for anything that starts white.
Yep. And you can tell by where it's going to bounce. It will bounce off this wall here. A lot of people don't know that, and they'll stick an extra person here, but it will bounce off that wall. Oh, my prayer ran out, actually.
So the next one is purple, so we're going to be hitting that with range. You want to do it right before it hits it so that you see after a few seconds it turns, from green to white, so. And Pony, get down here with the crab.
Yeah, I'll just get the other crabs out of the way.
Alright, cool.
What are we doing next, blue or yellow?
Yellow.
Will it bounce off that corner? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so for the next 2, you're going to need everybody in the line.
And for the crabs, you can also memorize where you need to stand.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to be the same.
Yeah,
it's just
depending on the room.
This one's yellow, I'm making it blue.
Yep. Yellow is the equivalent to mage, which is blue.
The reason that I saved blue for last is because you're gonna make the crystal red for blue, and you can smash your crab to keep it in place, which also happens to make it red. You can run away and get started.
try not to do what I just did. Step through it. That ball can actually hit you. That was a mistake on my part. Then the next thing we have is Mutadile. It's the little alligator looking thing. When you want to go into him, you want to pray range. Make sure you have all your stats to full. And then I have to drop a brew because I'm using blowpipe. Hit the big Mutadile. It sits over here in the water. You can't really see him, but he's there. I promise. And he will shoot mage at you. And then the little Mutadile will run up to you or try and run to the tree. You can whip spec him to stop the tree. It doesn't always work, but most of the time it does. We're just going to let him run out because we get more points that way. And we can heal off of him as he goes, like what he just did with the whip spec. Wait, isn't Tecton next?
Let me check.
If so,
Watch out, Pony.
don't want to spec like I just
Yeah,
did.
Tecton's
Okay.
next.
So don't do what he just did. If you have a boss next, it's going to require your spec. It's not worth it. Just use your brews.
Usually avoid Tecton in a 3-man, but
We wanted to show you guys a little bit more stuff.
Check out inbox.
And if the alligator hits really hard if he melees you, so be aware of that. And then you want to stand in that corner over there where they are. I don't stand there because I can use longer range with the T-bow. And you always want to re-range pot if you had to heal during the fight, because he's pretty tanky and you want to get him down as fast as possible. One of them is going to come out and whip spec, or actually no, we're going to save specs, so we won't be able to whip spec him this time.
Yeah, I would have, but Tecton.
Yeah. So you want to, for Tecton, you always want to save both your specs in the 3-man because he's very difficult, and this alligator is trying to eat me right now, so that's cool.
Yeah, he might have glitched.
Yeah, he bugged out actually, and you want to stay as far away from him as possible. I've seen people get hit for 75s with him. He will kill you. He is a very dangerous alligator.
Yeah, we got really lucky
he's
on
dead?
that one.
We got both overloads. You get one big overload from the big one, and then you get one overload from the small one. It's not always your drop. It just depends. Like, see how he just popped up on the ground? That's the small one. Usually people want to sip the prayer enhance because it saves them in a lot of extra time. And it will save you some prayer restore. Even in free for all raids, people sip the prayer enhance, so it's pretty normal. Run over here to this energy pool because it will always restore your energy to full. You definitely need your run energy throughout this raid, which is why you bring a stamina pot, but you always want to take the benefit of using it. Next is Tecton. You can tell who it is by all the lava, and he looks like he's a big guy at the anvil. Try to stay away from him and run around the outside of the room. If it's this room, there's another room where he looks straight at you.
Are we gonna overload for this, by the way?
We should actually.
We're gonna get 4, so we should, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're all sharing points.
I have 4. I picked up 1.
I'm gonna need one from you, Pony.
Here, I'm gonna drop you the raid spot.
Alright, I'll drop the overload I have.
Okay, in 3-mans we overload a lot. It just helps. You want to carry the one dose overload with us? Or do we care? We're just gonna drop it probably. We'll just remake. And then you want to heal to full. Tecton is by far the hardest boss to 3-man. He's weak to crush when he's orange, and he is very annoying. Long story short, always want to make sure you have 100% spec. Are you both of you ready on spec?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome.
I'm at 70.
Okay, do we want to wait on that then?
I mean, we overloaded.
Yeah, I should have it in.
Yeah, if the
kills. Another spec through the kill.
If the kill goes on long, we'll just do it.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna lure it now. Always turn on protect from melee. Wait for him to stand up, and then run to the back of the room. The farther away he is from the anvil, the less he does. So whenever he gets here, you hammer spec him. Nice 71s.
I hit one.
I missed
hit
both.
my second one.
Thank goodness. You want to
Make
run
sure
counter
you spec on
clockwise?
accurate as well.
I actually did not know that. See, that's why you guys bring these guys. After a little bit, he will go back to the anvil. We're actually doing really well right now. The hits are really good. You gotta
Always step
run.
away. Yeah, after he goes to anvil, because all of the things will
And
target you.
try to keep your distance from other people.
Hmm.
Yeah, otherwise you just take a bunch of damage like this. Don't run away from Tecton. Whenever he gets close to you, just run up and hit him. If you run away from him too far, he'll reset and go back to the anvil, and that will he will heal every time he goes to the anvil, so it will actually hurt the raid. Right now, I'm trying to corner him a little bit.
That was
We
really
actually
smooth,
did really
guys.
smooth. Sometimes Tecton kills don't go that way. Don't get tilted. Try and just calmly do them. This is
Thing to
another
know
scavs
about
room.
Tecton actually, he shoots two rocks at you where
Oh, you
you
can
were
actually do this
previously
mining rock
standing.
pony. We can all do it.
Oh, nice.
Um, this is a mining rock. It gives points. So if you can do them, do them. It's just more points overall for your team and you. If you're in a free for all, a lot of the times they'll call skip or they'll just skip it anyway, just because they don't want to waste the time doing it. Which is fine. You just have to pay attention because you'll get more points from fighting other things than you will from doing something like that. So always prioritize other things over it. But if you have the time, then do it for sure. This is Mage's room. They hit pretty hard, but they're pretty standard. The melee one likes to melee you a lot, like what he's trying to do right now. He's just chasing me. Now he's going into mage form, but all you do is you try and move away from him if he does this kind of thing, and you just keep your mage prey and rigger or hawkeye up. Then you want to do one more. I'm going to try and lure it down a little bit, that way they can get to it. You guys both reach it. What if I step back a little more? Nice. Okay, that's better. Okay, sometimes the other mages aggro onto it. It's fine. Something to note: Salvami IE is a lot better than the Anguish. So if you have the ability to bring it, or if you don't mind questing, definitely we would recommend that. Since this is pretty late in the raid, we can actually use the seeds that drop off the mages as well. They all drop seeds. It's a random number between 1 and 10. Sometimes more if you're in bigger raids, but it's not always the case. This is the last mage now. Remember, we get a free heal, guys, so you can take up to 50 health. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this gold bar and boot you right here.
Yeah, I have no room for seats, so if you guys can.
I only have 5 Buchu. If somebody can grab this other, oh, there we go. You really only need a lot of Buchu.
Drops.
It's okay, I got it. And then this is tightrope where they're at now. It's a very good room. It's really wonderful on points. They ran away from me because they're being greedy.
It's actually a really nice raid.
Yeah, this is a hella good one.
I think that's the end of avoiding Tecton. Well, we also got lucky with our hammer stacks.
Don't forget to switch your Salvami IE out or yeah.
Overloads are off, so
Oh
range
yeah,
cut.
I forgot about that.
And that was actually a really smooth range room as well. The archers in this room hit very hard in bigger raids. They hit really hard and really often, even through prayer. I don't know the max exactly. Do you know the max hitbox or pony?
Maybe
Prayer
25
on.
with prayer.
Yeah, I know it's
More than
high,
that.
and they hit 20s
I've
pretty
seen
often.
above 30 HP if you have the right prayer on. If not, you're fucked probably.
Yeah, the rangers can hit you. I've seen 55s come out of the rangers easily with no damage. This is the
With the size.
this is the prep room. You want to drop all your pots in 3 mans. Usually one person will go back for scavs or two, depending on how we want to do this right now. It's up to you guys. I don't really know how.
Do you mind, Poner?
I had to go back for my stamina anyway.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Wait, do we even need overloads? We got
No.
2, right?
No, we don't. Yeah,
Okay,
we have
so
3.
I just messed up. Normally, you would plant one Noxifer and one Goldfire, and then you make overloads. But since we got 4 overloads out of that raid, we only used 1, so we have 3 left. So that's 1 for each of us, so it works out. So whenever this comes up, I'm just going to clear it. So your main priority now is just Buchu seeds, which are how you make brews, like raid brews and raid restorers and raid prayer enhances, which are all necessary for the raid. I'm going to clear that and then plant another Buchu. And then Pony's going to go get secondaries, which are the things you can buy, and he just ticked it off in one grab. Okay. 6 farming level. Just kidding. His is 14 levels higher than mine. It happens sometimes. The plants will give you a randomized amount depending on your farming level. The higher your farming level, the higher amount of seeds you're supposed to get. Obviously, that's not always the case. Secondaries, as far as they go, you kill the big scavs if you have them, or the little scavs if you don't. And they are juice, which is for brews, which you need the most of. For a 3-man, we usually grab around 36, just for that 12 brews apiece. Depends on how many brews you carry individually. Kind of work that out with your team. Restores we usually are for Stinkhorn and Buchu, and you gather those the same way with the scavs, and the same way it goes with Sicily, which is for prayer enhances. You need 1 prayer enhance per person, or in bigger raids you only need 1 prayer enhance for every 2 people because you can split it in half. Right now we're just
okay. While you're learning and getting secondaries, you should account for at least 15 juice per person, which is 15 brews, and 5 mushrooms per person, which is 5 restores.
Yeah.
And then 1 Sicily per person as well.
Yeah, if not more, depending on just in case you plan on if you're brand new, raid 1 or 2, I would definitely recommend you getting like 50 or 60 juice, just so you have extra brews and you don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, we can't we run out of Buchu or run out of juice during Ulm because you need extras because you've died. Because whenever you die, all of your brews restores, everything like that drops on the floor in Ulm, and so it helps your teammates out because they can use them. However, for you, it's harder because you have to go back and grab more out of the chest. So if you have some pre-made, it will help you in the long run, and it makes learning a lot less strenuous.
If your raid group is still at the point where dying is inevitable, definitely have the person with the lowest point suicide before the raid, so you're comfortable using your own supplies and not picking any up off the ground.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
You get the majority of your points at the Ulm fight, so it's better to lose the pre-raid points than the pre-raid points with the Ulm fight points as well.
Would definitely agree with that. We're pretty good on Buchus, don't you think?
Probably.
Make sure I need like a little bit more juice. Make sure overloads don't despawn.
Oh, that's right. Another thing to note: if too many things go into the ground at once, your pots on the ground, like the raid pots, not your stuff, but the raid pots individually, will actually get lost.
Here, I can go make chests real quick.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just so we don't waste time.
Yeah, because we've got Buchu done. We've got 100 Buchu on the ground.
Yeah, I just been dry on juice.
Just in case you guys were
so far.
Just in case you guys were wondering, we have quite this is more than we would need. You need 1 Buchu per potion, so that's roughly 100 potions.
Yeah, you can show them how to make pots too.
Yeah, I will. There you go. There's chest. That's what the small looks like. It takes 4 planks to make it. And this is your shared storage. And so you can put everything in here, any of the team stuff. We're going to unload. And then what you want to do is you want to unload everything that you're not going to carry into the own fight into your private chest. A lot of people will actually dump their entire gear setups in there and then re-pull them out at the end. That way they have more inventory to make stuff. That's personal preference. You make a lot more pots that way, so I definitely recommend it, but do whatever you feel comfortable with doing. Like I keep my melee switch out that way, or my range switch, that way I don't have to worry about re-grabbing it later. He's pulling potions right now. I'm actually going to go over here and grab some of these Buchus, that way we don't have to run them all at the end. For running waters and stuff like that, if you're not 78 Herblore, definitely run the waters for everybody, because a lot of the people that are 78 Herblore are going to want to make potions, that way you don't, because if you do that for them, then they can start making potions faster, and that will help just make the raid faster in general. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you guys how do you get. I'm going to put the seeds away because we don't need any more of those because we have enough Buchu. So a stinkhorn, a juice, and a Sicily are the three different things, and all three will have 3 vials and then 3 Buchu. So for the juice, you can make a restore, which is a Xerix aid, and it goes a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 Sicily makes 1 prayer enhance, and then 1 restore is made by 1 stinkhorn mushroom, and they look just like that. This is a restore, this is a brew, and this is a prayer enhance. Luckily, they all look kind of like the pots in game, so it's really easy to get used to them. Thankfully, I'm gonna go run another inventory real quick. He went ahead and tagged the end because a little known, or not a little known thing, but something to keep in mind with raids is that the guy going back for scavs can actually log, and then he'll end up down here at the very end. That way he doesn't have to run all the way back around, and it saves a lot of time for your team. And so we have 52 brews in right now. We're doing really well. Take what you need out, and then make an inventory. You can just make all. It's just like making Herblore. You even get a little bit of EXP. All of that EXP that I've gained so far has been from only doing raids on this level specifically. So you still get good EXP at raids, or not good EXP, but it's beneficial. I'm gonna make about 5 more because they have 35 in there already. Pony's gonna call doing restores because he's doing them for us. He called gear because we're pretty much ready at this point. So I'm gonna pull out 1 prayer enhance and 1 overload, and I'm gonna make sure that I drag them up, that way I don't waste. And then I will pull out the rest of my inventory's worth. I always carry, this is my setup for Ohm. It will be different if you have less or more switches. Once again, I definitely recommend not using something like an 8-way switch if you're newer. Just do a 6-way or 5-way even. Whatever you're comfortable with doing, you can still get decent DPS out of. He's making enhances for himself. I've got 1, by the way, Pony.
Yeah, I got 1.
And then I'm going to drop 2 aids on the ground because you're going to want to use 1 restore and then 1 brew whenever you overload. And then I grab 2 more restores out. Then we're just going to... Really, guys? You ready, inbox? Okay.
Wait, actually, let me brew up and
Okay.
get my prayer up.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll sip up my prayer a little bit, actually. Okay. Let me know when you're ready, Pony.
Alright, I'm ready.
Okay. Overload. As you can see, the points have been pretty much capped already. Overloads give a severe amount of points. Brews give a decent amount, and then... but for team raids, it doesn't really matter too much. You're all going to split, so don't really stress if you don't have the most points or anything like that. Usually you want to wait by the door for the first one. Inbox is lagging behind a little bit. My quick prayers are piety and that. Yeah, Pony, you stay there. I will switch over to mage. Oh, those crystals that come up on the ground, they happen at the beginning of most phases. Or do they not happen during the second phase? Do you guys know?
I think they do.
Okay. Right now we're on flame phase, so I just got burned. It lowers my prayer, and it hits me for 5 damage every time. They've got portals, which is fine. They're gonna run on top of each other to take no damage. That is the where they just went. That is the basic spot to stand. Everybody goes there, and I miss the crystals again. Crystals do a severe amount of damage, so try and pay attention to them as possible. They always come after portals. I just was not looking, so that was my fault. Somebody
I
get me out.
got you. Come my site. Come my
Sweet.
site.
Okay, you
I'm
guys
going
have
down.
portal again. That was burn. If you get trapped in there, you get hit for a large amount of your HP. Right, there we go. Now we dodged. And then you switch to your melee switch up. You want to make gaps because of the burn.
That, yeah, as you see, I just got burned, and last second I got a gap, so I didn't burn Mercury.
Yep. If you stand within 1 square of another player. Okay, explain what you're about to do.
I'm standing on him when it says burn with me, because as long as you burn with me over your head, you get hit by, or you can't infect someone else with the burn, if that makes sense.
Okay, and then this is the ending of the phase. What happens, you get a little bit of a delay. You can heal during this and whatever else, but you need to focus on these crystals. They do about 25 to 15 damage depending on your health.
And how close they are to you is what it really depends on, I believe.
That's a good thing to know. I actually didn't know they either.
If it's right on top of you, it's about 25, and if it's about a square away, it's only about 16.
That ball that just came after me, that is a range ball. There's 3 different balls, one for range, melee, and mage. You get a big text down there at the bottom like you saw on my screen. Always make sure to switch your gear and your prayer as you move across. There I was a little slow, so I wasted a bunch of time. This is cry. A lot of people, you can do one of 2 things. You can either walk it out like this, which is what I want most of you to do whenever you're doing this. Pony, yeah, I'm trying, but it'll be a little bit of a teleport. Nice, okay, that works. Then spikes come up again, just like last time. Almost switch range and melee as he goes. Inbox, can you explain what you're doing with the moving in the middle? That way they understand.
Yeah, so as soon as I dodge this, alright, so what I'm doing in the middle over here is I'm running Ohm's head. So as you notice,
come to me. I'm
portals.
portal. Oh, we're good.
Oh,
I don't
nice.
know. I don't know how we got that, to be honest. So since we were on the same spot, we somehow got.
But yeah, back to what I was saying. So as you can see, Ohm is facing south right now, and now he faces north. So I want to make sure I'm on the opposite side that he's facing. And what that'll do is basically make him continue to turn his head, preventing one person from getting too much damage. Another thing to note with this. Oh, sorry, I had to focus for a second. Another thing with running its head is basically that if you have a pet, it helps a lot. You only have to run a total of 3 squares, so you just basically want to be on either side of your pet. And there is one specific line that you want to go on, continue to be on the opposite side of, and I'll show you that in a second.
Overloads are out in 5 seconds, guys.
Yeah.
So whenever overloads get close to not being out, you want to let your prayer or your health drop a little bit. I actually ended up taking a little bit of damage after, so that wasn't really useful. But whenever you're doing this, just stay calm. A good thing to do is if you're crying and stuff like that. Oh, I just hit by lightning. The lightning will pause you and drain or stop your prayer from going up. So keep that in mind. so I just restored to full. And then another good thing about the gaps is that whenever, like say, a little bit longer, there would have been crystals popped up. So if I was standing here, then you would step over one, and you can dodge the crystals and keep doing full amounts of damage. A good thing to do between phases is make sure you're healed to full, and then make sure your Warhammer spec's ready for the next round. And then as soon as he pops up, you can click it, and then you'll on the last phase you want to do double. Then use your whip, and you want to camp the melee hand on the last phase as much as possible to get it down as much. That way you have to do less later, unless you get it down to like 10%.
Melee hand. Yeah, and then of course you have to get off so you don't kill it, because both hands have to be killed at the same time.
Ooh.
Good job, guys. Also, where was I going with that?
Range fray? Inbox? Pony, take me?
Oh. What the fuck?
You stay in the beginning till portals, so since
yourself?
you just had portals, you want to get off.
Oh, like I messed up and I'm out of prayer there, which is fine. One thing to note, the only way this works whenever he's running head like that is if you go onto long range if you're on the melee hand side. If you're on the mage hand side, you do not. You can stay on accurate. It's fine. These guys have got portals. That's acid, so he has to keep walking, so they're going to have to kind of meet up, and they usually you take 5 to 10 damage. It's okay, usually. It's not a huge deal. Just make sure your HP is high whenever you get portals and that kind of thing happens. Every once in a while you can get a perfect tick, but it just happens. There's nothing really you can do special for that.
I was talking about that middle line that you kind of have to keep running on the opposite side of. If you don't have a pet, another thing you can do is what I did, and I dropped a brew in the middle right.
There's a brew. There's his pet. He's running. What Pony's doing actually is he's working on him. Those are bombs beside them. They do a lot of damage, so they knew that they had enough time, so they went ahead and did the thumb thing like normal. However, you need to be very aware of the timers. For those of you who are new, I would suggest staying away from them if possible and moving away as soon as possible. And then I've got cry again, so I'm just going to turn on my walk and then walk it out. Another thing you can do is you can hit while doing it. However, I don't recommend that for newer players once again. I will probably cover how to do that in a later video. This is head phase. He can do all of his special attacks, and he drops bombs, and he still attacks like normal. So the best thing for you to do is dodge. Make sure you're not taking a whole lot of damage. Stay high health. Stay safe, because this is the last phase, and so this is where you've already gotten most of your points at this point. So you do not want to lose them. If you have to, you can ask for a brew. A lot of people will drop them. They show up instantly. But just keep an eye on Olm and what he's doing, and then keep your other eye on the drops, the little bubbles. You guys got any other tips for this?
Stay near walls.
Yeah, the closer you stay to a wall usually helps. The only reason I'm in the middle right now is because I'm continuing to try to run the head, which you can do obviously on the last phase. But definitely don't recommend comfortable.
Yeah, leave that up to, if you're raiding with more experienced players, leave the running of the head to more experienced players and focus on learning your basics first.
Another thing that helps me on head is I zoom out my so that I can see the crystals more clearly as they come down.
And there you go. That's an entire raid we did in 32 minutes. It'll show your kill count. If you get an item, or anybody gets an item, like a bigger ticket item, it'll show up down here. You get 2 items if you don't. If you get just the item, if you finish the raid without. And that's pretty much it, guys. You guys want to add anything else before I cut?
Not so much. That pretty much covered.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Once again, shout out to Pony and Inbox. It was a pretty smooth raid for what it was. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks again. Bye, guys.